Hi everybody, today we're going to be making an Easter spring inspired project where we're going to be using, we're going to learn how to draw an egg shape using our sketching methods, and we're also going to be using tissue paper for flowers and markers. So get ready to make this beautiful spring project and follow along in the video so that you can learn how to do it, okay? All right, here we go guys, let's do it. Hi everybody, today we're going to be making a Easter spring inspired decorative three-dimensional tissue paper flower design. Now the objective for the lesson is to utilize what we have learned through the elements of art about color and line and shape to kind of give the impression that there's a flower with the shape of it and the colors of it to give it sort of like a spring theme. And we're utilizing our knowledge of line and color and combining all of those things together to create this project. We're also going to be utilizing what we've learned about pattern as we recreate a series of curved lines around here, repeating that line, that curved line, to create this pattern shaped of something called a scalloped edge, okay? So the first thing you're going to need for this project is we're going to need a pencil. You're going to need a glue stick. You're going to need a pair of scissors. You're going to need some markers for color, but if you don't have markers, it's okay. You can use crayons or color pencils, whatever works for you. You're also going to need a white paper to draw your egg, and then you're also going to need, if you want to put it on a background like this, you're also going to need a colored construction paper. You don't have to do that, but it does look very nice. Also, in this video, if you don't have, for this project, if you don't have tissue paper, you can also use tissue, and I will use tissue or toilet paper, whatever you have, and you can utilize that to create a flower as well. I have another sample over here that can show you what the tissue looks like when it's combined with other tissue paper pieces so that you can see it. You get quite the same effect. So it's not that big of a deal if you don't have tissue paper, okay, readily available in your home. All right. And also, if you don't have glue stick, you can use tape. You are going to have to use some kind of adhesive to attach the tissue to the paper. So if you don't have glue stick, you can use regular school glue, Elmer's glue, or tape. Okay? All right, let's begin. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to have to recreate this egg shape. And what we're going to do is we're going to do that by taking our pencil, and whenever we're trying to create a shape that we're not quite sure, we're not using a pattern, you're going to hold your pencil up here towards the top. And what that does is that allows you to be able to have the freedom to make a very light, sketchy line when you're creating the shape instead of making a dark line. And the reason you want that is because when you're creating this oval shape for the egg, you're going to keep going around and around and around. And we don't want any dark lines on our paper. We want to just keep going around in a circle using that light pressure, sketchy line to create the shape, and it'll eventually come together, all right? Now, by the way, when I'm doing this, not only am I not pressing down hard, but I'm not lifting the pencil up off the paper because I want a continual line until I kind of get the shape that I need. Okay, so it generally is the shape. Now, it's not going to be a perfect egg shape, but it doesn't matter because all we're creating is an oval design anyway, so it doesn't have to be a perfect egg shape. Okay, now after you're done with that, what you're going to do is you're going to start to cut out your shape here. And you're going to cut right along the line. It doesn't matter what line you choose, just choose one and follow it around. Cutting around, trying to stay as even as possible within the shape that you created. And do your best. This is all we can ask for, right? We're always learning. Okay, so now we have our general oval shape. And again, mind you that if you don't have large paper, you can always do this on a very small scale, a very small paper, and it looks just as nice. Actually, it might even look cuter when it's really small. Okay, so now we're going to take our glue stick and whatever adhesive you have. And on the side where I did the sketching, I want to put the glue on that side because that's like the dirty side. So I'm going to put the glue all around the edge here. Try not to put, especially if you're using liquid glue, don't put it in the middle because it'll saturate your paper and make it wet. And you definitely don't want a wet paper when you're trying to draw on it, all right? So now we have our glue on here. And now I'm going to take this and I'm going to center it in the middle of my colored construction paper, okay, wherever you want it. And you're just going to smooth that down. Okay. Now, you want to keep that glue readily available because we're going to be using it again in a couple of minutes to do our tissue paper. So now I'm going to take my green. Now, for this project, I did use 2 different color greens, but you don't have to. Even if you were to use a crayon, it's fine, okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a series of stems that some are tall, some are medium, some are short. You can make them be straight, you can make them be wavy, whatever you want, okay? Doesn't matter how many you have. I just wanted to make different stems just like it's in real life, okay? We're recreating nature, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my other marker and I'm going to thicken up my lines. Now I'm using 2 different colors because I like the way the 2 different colors look for the stem. And I'm just going to go, some of it is on top, some of it is next to it, not a big deal. And I'm just tracing my line to basically make it thicker. Okay, now after I'm done that, I'm then going to add in some more shorter lines to appear as though it's grass. And I'll leave that there so that you can see. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of going up and down, just like regular grass. It's not always exactly the same height unless it's been mowed. And even with that, if you were to get in really close, you would see that it's not all perfectly all the same height. Okay, now I'm going to take my darker green, and you can also do this with a crayon too. You can go back in, you can add a little dimension with that darker green on top. It works easier with the marker, but you can see there that you can also add a little bit of dimension, meaning that the 2 greens will come together to make it look like it goes a little bit further back than just on top. Okay, so now we filled in that space. Now the next thing that we're going to do is you're going to take your glue stick and you're going to put glue circles at the top of every one of these stems. So I'm going to put a little glue here. Every space I'm going to use a little bit of glue. And I don't want to put too little of it because we want to make sure that it really does stick. So I'm just going to make sure that I get every space there. And also, you can also put some next to the stem. It doesn't have to be at the very top of the stem always, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some some tissue paper circles. Now you can use any color that you like. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what it looks like with the tissue too. So I take a little bit of tissue and I can tear it. And I'm tearing it because I don't want the edges to be perfect, okay? So what I'm then going to do is I'm just going to ball it up, and you can see at the very bottom here, that part where I pinch together, that's the part that I'm going to stick onto the glue. So I'm going to put one right here in the center. And isn't that lovely? And those torn edges make it look like a real life carnation, okay? So you can do that with tissue, you can do it with tissue paper if you want. And if you're using white tissue for it, I'm just going to ball it up and press it down. You can use any colors that you like. You can mix it up or you can have all the same color. It's your choice because it's your paper. So I just kind of take a little tissue paper, ball it up, and then press it down and let that part stick up. That's what makes it look beautiful when it's like that. You can use any colors that you like. Okay. If you want to go a little darker, we can do a little purple in here. And I think I like that tissue so much, I'm going to do that one again. So again, what I did was I took the tissue and I just kind of tear the edges off because I want it to be kind of natural looking. And then I'm just going to take that, bunch it up, and I'm going to put another piece down here. I love the way that tissue looks. And then I'm going to add a couple more pieces to here. And I'll do another dark pink right there. So now we have all of our tissues on here. They look beautiful. Okay, and now what we want to do is we want to address the border. You could have done it before you put the tissues on, but it's okay. It's not a big deal. Now what I'm going to do is, remember I talked to you about that scalloped edge? Well, the first thing you can do is you can take it and you can just trace around the edge of your design here to give it a nice, quick line that will make everything look nice and neat. I'm just going to follow around here. Okay, and then I'm going to trace that all the way around. Continue that line until it's all the way around. Now you have some choices. You could leave it like that, or you could take another marker, whatever color you want, and you can just add other colors around it for that scallop pattern. So here's our scallop pattern. So you just curve it over and you can fill it in. Curve it over and fill it in. And you can even go right on top of the first line. Curve it over, fill it in. Curve it over, fill it in. Curve it over, fill it in. It goes quicker if you have marker, especially a fat marker. But if you don't, it'll just take a little bit more time, but you can do this with crayon. Maybe you like the mix between the marker and the crayon. That also is a very nice mix when you mix up two mediums, what we call mediums in the art world. Two mediums, meaning two different kinds of supplies, crayons, markers. Another medium would be colored pencils. Okay, so you can create this border all the way around. You can make it small or you can make it a little bit bigger like what I'm doing. And you're going to fill all of that in. Now, you can use multiple colors as well. You don't have to use just these colors that I'm using. I'm using pink and orange, but you can use other colors as well. You don't have to use just the colors that I use. And maybe you want to kind of echo with some of the colors that you see inside of your flowers here. So maybe you want to just kind of go on the outside. You can do the same thing, and you can do it as much as you want. Now, in the last class, some kids gave me some ideas that maybe if I didn't want to do a scalloped edge, maybe you can actually put some little decorative eggs on the outside here to really decorate your picture. There's lots of different things that you can do. You can create line patterns. You can pretty much do whatever you want, and you can make it as many colors as you want, and you can create any patterns that you want. But this is the general idea. And again, if you don't have colored tissue paper, you can add a little colored marker to your tissue to give it a little bit of interest. You can add a little bit of color like that. Now you have something that has a little bit of a decorative design to it. Okay, so you can utilize what you know already and utilize the things around your house to create this beautiful spring design. I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of your beautiful work. Goodbye, everybody. Good job.